Welcome to
But
another
that's okay.
episode of Wrinkles in the Crease, where we take a look at the stories in hockey and iron out the details. I'm your host, Zachary Morgan. I have with me, as always, my co-host, the less than real deal, Trevor Neal. Trevor, what is going on?
I'm doing great, Zach. We're back.
We are back.
Hockey is in full swing.
Hockey's in full swing, and the stories outside of hockey and inside of hockey are
Are
also,
even crazier.
yes, they are. And of course, we've got with us, as always, but with different hair, once again, Andrew Tortoriello, Lindy Buff. What the hell happened?
I don't
A
know.
lot
It
of
was time for a
bleach.
change. Yeah, a lot of bleach.
Did
Um,
you watch 8 Mile?
that's funny. That's really funny.
Zach's
Yeah.
been working on that for 2 days now.
I haven't heard that yet. It's that nobody's been calling me
Nobody said
Eminem
that
or
yet. No one said that yet.
people definitely
For
haven't been coming up to me and singing "Mom Spaghetti" or whatever that song is. I have
Lose
no clue.
yourself. Oh my god.
Lose yourself. Yeah.
for our
Um,
audio listeners, Andrew's hair is the color of corn now.
Yeah,
That's the
Andrew shaved his head
Yeah,
one
I
week
guess.
and then the next week bleached it. I
Yep.
respect the hell out of it. I do respect
update.
the hell.
Andrew might not be okay.
No, I'm going through something.
Are you okay?
Can we just dive right into it?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Honestly, no, I'm not.
Wonderful.
Jack Hughes, upper body injury.
Yeah, so we'll just get that out of the way now. If you are living under a rock once again, it's time for us to emerge from our rock. You and me both. Jack Hughes, the current leader in points scored in the NHL, he is out with week to week with an upper body injury. Quite frankly, it seems as though the Devils and everyone dodged a bullet because it should have been a lot worse based on the collision.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. Devils
Get
are
the
right
injury
now.
bug out early.
Yeah, Devils right now are without Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier, so that's always a good thing. But not really much else to add about that. Devils will ultimately survive. It's early in the season.
They'll
so
get him back
Panic button is not there
before
yet.
Christmas.
I think actually
It's
tonight
fine.
is a good barometer of where we are in terms of skill level without Hughes and Hischier, just because we're going up against a relatively good team with like literally almost the same exact record as us. 7 wins, 3 losses, but they played one less game, so we have one more overtime. But I'm really excited to see, hopefully, that we can still put up numbers, still have a fast-paced, incredible game without.
Your offense?
Yeah, exactly.
Without a generational talent on the ice who can quite literally take over the game at
Bingo.
when he decides to. So, no, I do
Yes.
agree that it's good to have this test early on in the season because now the team can really figure out who will step up. Honestly, I'm expecting to see a lot of really big numbers out of Tyler Toffoli. Jesper Bratt's kind of reminding us that he's the best player in the NHL. The Devils
By far.
seemingly are in good hands. Luke Hughes is our number one power play quarterback, and we're paying
Yes.
they're paying Dougie Hamilton $9 million a year, and this is what needs to happen. Clearly, it's what needs to remain.
It's a good problem to have.
It is a very good problem to have.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to keep it moving, though, we do have more newsly things to talk about in regards to hockey, I guess.
Newstastic.
It's not a much this is what's happening on the ice kind of week.
Yeah, there's a lot of
on-ice
stuff.
stories are gonna get overshadowed.
It's actually, when I first put together the concept of this podcast, this is kind of what I had in mind. I didn't think when I put together the concept of this podcast, where we take a look at the stories in hockey and then iron out the details, I didn't think that we would be dealing with in the same week a death, renewal of the sexual assault against the Chicago Blackhawks,
Yeah,
and
rough
an owner complaining about previous ownership. This all happened within a 1 week span. So
it's been an exhausting week news-wise.
That it has. So without any particular order, let's just get right into it. So, of course, the call for neck protection has been gaining prominence since in the aftermath of the Adam Johnson incident.
We've
The
seen some
corn,
NHL players start to wear it, which I think we should note. Oshie, is it
Yeah,
Nikolai
pretty big
Ehlers?
ones.
Eric Carlson from the Penguins is wearing it during a practice, along with a few other members of the team. I don't know if they've worn them in a game. So change is happening on that
you
front,
are
which we talked
seeing a
about
lot
last
of
time.
NHL players wear them in practice. It's only a matter of time before we see it happen in games.
They're
It
getting
is
used to
Um,
interesting to me to wear it in practice, but not to pick one or the other. Acknowledging the risk, but only mitigating it half the time is like,
They're probably adjusting themselves to getting used to wearing it before they throw themselves
oh,
off
that
in a
could be
game.
it.
That's what I would
yeah,
say.
I can imagine that because it is a piece of equipment to get used to, and your game day is a lot of these players do treat it like a special ritual. So
Jack Eichel.
Jack Eichel, Sidney Crosby, like all these guys. So it's a ritual to them. You're gonna have to get used to that. Although, honestly, if Jack Eichel's not wearing a neck protector, what are we doing? Like of all players, Jack Eichel should absolutely be wearing a neck protector. I will
Oh
die on that
yes.
hill. But neither here nor there.
Besides the point.
Um, the coroner investigating the death over in England has called for neck protectors to be made mandatory in the sport of hockey, and fears that more deaths will be inevitable without them. Um, and Adam Johnson's funeral was Sunday. There was a memorial service held Monday that was attended by a lot more notable people in around the NHL.
Yeah. I'm glad that it's not kind of being brushed aside, the need for equipment. I was kind of afraid they would be like, "Oh, this is a heartbreaking moment. Let's move on from it." I'm glad that there's actual voices coming out and asking for change. The coroner especially saying that this needs to be mandatory. I think is a big thing to happen. The NHL players wearing it's big. It actually looks like there may be change moving forward.
It does, but we do also have to, before we go forward, I just want to kind of issue a correction from last week. So it's the EIHA, so the hockey the governing board for hockey in England. They are the ones who ruled that neck protection should be made mandatory as of 2024. So for international play, that is, you will see English teams and English players wearing neck protection. In the
Mm.
EIHL, which is the league where the incident happened, they are not governed by the EIHA.
Okay.
So
They're not.
they will not have neck protection made mandatory in the league. They are
The
not.
way that I look at it is like USA hockey rules do not apply to the NHL.
Exactly.
Their equipment rules don't apply because USA hockey requires mouth guards. The NHL does not. To my knowledge, I don't believe the NHL requires them. But yeah, our
Which
bad.
is
I misread that.
no, I did the same, but it's an interesting
But I assume that the league will probably not mandate it, but you'll see net guards in that league.
in some
For
capacity.
That
sure.
You're
would be
definitely going to see.
insane to not
You're
have neck guards in the league. I mean, especially for
They're
the
close to
players
it.
that were on the ice when it happened. There's no more powerful.
That would be an interesting take on your mortality, really, to have that
Are
incident
you
happen on the ice and then to go into your next game doing nothing to even try to prevent that incident from
just do
happening again,
nothing different?
That
knowing
would
that
just
it
be
was,
insane.
yeah. So I don't know.
It's going to be an interesting story to follow. I'm actually really interested to see how the course of this season. I want to see the percentage of players right now that are wearing them versus come playoff time, because I think that number is slowly going to creep up every week. Look, and then we had the news of what the Penguins organization did. They cannot mandate it for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but they have mandated it for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins and their ECHL affiliate in Wheeling, the Nailers.
Yeah.
Um, just because they're the team by far closest to the situation.
Then it's not.
So
It,
they're going to be the first team to do something, and I'm glad
it's
that the
not
Penguins
surprising to
management
see
did.
them leading the charge on this one, and
Mhm.
honestly,
Good on them.
as you mentioned, Trevor, with their ties to Adam Johnson. He did play for the organization. He scored his only NHL goal for the organization. It makes sense for them to do so, and it's just good to see they have the right players also to get that message across. So definitely, there's nothing more to say. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. I'm all for players doing everything they can to make sure that they can, live. I feel like I
Me too.
shouldn't. I
Yeah,
don't feel like that should be a hot take, but somehow I'm sure it will be because the world is stupid right now, and
if
here
the
we are.
TJ Oshie quote didn't hit you, where he was asked about wearing a neck guard in a game, he said, "I made a decision for my kids."
Yeah, that one.
If that quote doesn't make you go, "I think I should be wearing one," nothing is like that. I made a decision for my kids. I want to go home to them tonight.
Period. End of story.
It's what it's going to turn into. Like, wear one. It's not hard.
Yeah, it really, and even I guess even if it was hard for me, it's just like it. Wearing a helmet isn't that fun. I guess
I
it's
hated
kind of
wearing a
hard to play.
cage.
Yeah, I hated wearing a cage too. But
I'm still dealing with acne from wearing a helmet for hockey. I'm
Yeah,
not
man.
joking.
So am I.
I am not joking.
Yes.
Please
Insane.
continue, Andrew.
It never goes away.
But if I one time I blocked a shot with my cage, and I guarantee if it wasn't there, I maybe wouldn't have shown up for a week or two. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Everyone's
definitely
got a
worth-
story like that. I feel like with the cage.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. But it's. And
Oh, a
the thing
little
is,
aside.
like.
Trevor, if you don't mind, just before I run,
Go ahead.
I forget. I made a video about the Adam Johnson situation, and I'm not sure if you recall, but last week I was like, who is saying that it was on purpose? I was like baffled, and I actually got comments, some of them that YouTube like auto held back from being published because they were like cursing and hurling insults towards towards the guy who I don't know, was involved in the accident that with Adam Johnson, and
Yeah.
I was blown away. I was baffled.
It's horrific.
Yeah.
So
it's
genuinely, I can't even believe people.
There are people like that who claim to pay attention and watch the sport. Yeah, it's wild to me that there are that many people out there that still think that the laws of physics just don't apply.
Yeah. No, players just float.
Okay, Andrew, I'm sorry, you were saying?
I don't actually remember what I was saying. One thing I was thinking about is, you know how they have that rule where even if your stick in the NHL, rather, they have a rule that if your stick is hit, the onus is still on you to control the stick. Like if someone lifts your stick and it hits someone, that is still a high sticking because you should be able to control your stick.
Yeah.
I wonder, do you think that extends to players trying to fall in a way that is safe for other players?
I again go to the line of the laws of physics kind of do their own thing.
And I agree. I am by
don't-
no means saying that what happened to Adam Johnson was a deliberate act. But I'm saying,
I get what you're saying, but it's difficult to govern in the sense that while your legs are a part of your body, that's ultimately something you can only control so much. Whereas a stick, you are directly holding that. It's hard to govern how a limb moves as opposed to what you're doing when you hold a stick. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like if you were moving in potentially a reckless way, but the thing is, I don't think you can prove if a player is moving recklessly or just physics is taken over. Like I don't think I think the line's too blurry for there to be a rule.
So you're saying there would really be no way to enforce it?
Even
if there was,
so.
Okay.
Like unless you're going out and kicking a player, which is not what happened. Which is already.
Well, we have cases like that. Yeah. There are cases like that in pretty much every league. It's
100%.
immediate. Like it's not even minor. It's like a suspension because it's intent to injure.
You have a knife on your foot. Like if you are stepping on someone with that has to be viewed as an intent to injure. 100%.
Yeah, of course.
But again, this was not that. This was a man got knocked off, lost his balance, and if you've ever skated before, ice is slippery. I don't know. I've done some very weird motions trying to keep my balance. So what can I really
Yeah.
what
Once
else
you
is there to
lose your
say?
balance, your mind stops working and your body flails to try to stay up.
It
It-
becomes all instinct at that point.
yeah.
It has to. Like I
And he was thrown, like the guy that hit, like the guy whose leg came up. He was kind of corkscrewed into the air in a weird way.
that he was.
Yeah.
That he was. Mm.
Do we move on to the mess that is the Ottawa Senators in the last week or so they've had?
Uh I don't see why not. Trevor, do you have some understanding of that situation? Because I'm
Do
still
we start with the Shane Pinto part? Because I think this all wraps into one.
Shit,
I
free
think
Shane
it's one
Pinto.
story.
He did
you
nothing
know
wrong.
what? Regale me with the Shane Pinto part because there's no way we covered the Shane Pinto part on the podcast yet.
You might
Sorry.
Yeah, we did
remember
not. So
Trevor advocated. I'm not sure if this came out actually, but Trevor is he is a
I'm a
staunch
big Shane Pinto
pro
guy.
Shane Pinto advocate.
Yes.
I
So,
was.
bearing that in mind,
So
Trevor.
yeah, Shane Pinto was a prospect who scored 20-ish goals for the Senators last year. I'm not sure the exact number, but he kind of got forgotten about in a slight mistake. They didn't have the money
Forgotten
to
about.
sign him. Yeah, he was
Forgotten.
forgotten. No, that part of the story is real. And then once the investigation came out, then they halted negotiations. So they were negotiating
Okay.
after the screw up. That's the
Okay.
story. Yeah, if we believe it or not is up to us. But then negotiations kind of go weirdly quiet, and then all of a sudden Shane Pinto has a 41 game suspension for gambling, which there was some slight confusion about. Does it start when he's under contract, or does it start at game one? It is game one for some reason, even though he's technically not under contract. But I think if you said that he has to wait until he's signed, he's just never going to play again. And I don't think the PA would like that.
That is ultimately true because
Yeah.
yeah.
So the Shane
okay.
Pinto stuff happens. The NHL says nothing about what actually happened. There was like a weird memo they sent to players that you can't like share your accounts and like you can't bet on hockey. Like it was a weird memo. And then it comes out that the Senators were forced to forfeit. Is that the exact term? A first round pick.
Yeah.
Yes. That is the
For
terminology.
a trade for that they were not involved in, that they somehow influenced and botched. Right, they did botch it. A trade that they were not involved in. The Senators screwed up that bad. From a year and a half ago, something like that.
The draft in like
Evgeny-
2021 or 2022, yeah, something like that. Where
the Dadonov trade.
the Dadonov
Yeah.
trade, yeah,
Dadonov.
Dadonov, yeah,
Yes.
Daddy.
Daddy. That's what we call him down here in the Big D. Okay.
Someone should make a supercut of me mispronouncing hockey players' names.
Absolutely,
That would be great. Brock
Absolutely.
Bowser.
Oh my god!
Oh my
God.
god.
Anyway,
Brock
please
Bowser.
continue with your Dadonov.
So the Senators have to forfeit this first round pick, and then the GM is immediately fired. To my understanding,
Wait,
so
was
the
he
Senators
fired or
were-
did he resign?
he was fired?
Okay,
He was fired. It was 100% guaranteed to me when I watched the Michael Andlauer press conference. That which is quite possibly the best press conference I've ever seen from an owner in any regard in sports. He did not hold back one bit. From Michael Andlauer's point of view, he bought the Ottawa Senators a few months ago. It just got
something like
completed
that.
before the season. And then he gets a call that one of his players is being suspended. He had no idea there was an investigation happening. He was never informed during the purchasing process. And then a week later, a 73-page report just shows up on his desk, and he's told he doesn't have a first-round pick anymore, which we estimate, I've heard a first-round pick in hockey terms is worth about $25 million.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's ball. I think the Robin Leonard trade weirdly set the precedent for the values of of picks, and the first rounder comes out to about 25 million.
Why does it always come back to Robin Leonard and his snake farm?
It's
Anyway,
always Robin Leonard at Snake Farm. But so this all happens. Michael Andlauer just goes at a press conference, says like, yeah, Pierre's fired. He's axed. He's gone. I don't know why the hell I inherited this. He made it very clear he thinks the NHL was hiding it to make the seller's price go up. The Ottawa Senators, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey now. I don't like that.
The NHL would never.
Yeah, I don't like that accusation against the NHL.
They just don't release information on pending investigations. They don't want to.
The NHL has never swept anything under the rug.
Never in a million years.
They definitely aren't currently dealing with the fallout from something they swept under the rug this week.
Absolutely not. The NHL is the best run organization in the history.
They're so transparent.
Now, let's talk about how the Chicago Blackhawks have their second Black Ace coming out and suing the team, accusing Brad Aldrich of sexual assault, and the NHL is totally really willing to talk about that again, as Andrew stated.
The NHL is a joke, right? Have we established in this show yet that the NHL has the best sport worst league?
Yeah, it's been that way for too long. So, as I just said, though, before we kind of gloss over that, a second Black Ace from the 2010 Chicago Blackhawks team has come out and accused the video coach Brad Aldrich of sexual assault in a lawsuit against the team.
Yeah, he's going to win that suit, right?
Explain to me how the Ottawa Senators paid more of a price for a botched Evgeny Dadonov trade than the Chicago Blackhawks did for covering up sexual assault.
Before we answer that, they botched it, to my understanding, for failing to disclose a no trade clause. Is that what you've understood from it as well? Apparently, there's more to it, but that's the gist of it.
What I've been able to comprehend from that, because it's very hard to find an actual article that explains the full situation of what happened in the trade.
It's a 73-page report that shows that the Ottawa Senators were negligent and harmful. So, and to answer your question, Zach, this is the NHL's philosophy. Well, the Blackhawks thing didn't affect on-ice play. And the problem is not that the Senators were punished too harshly. That is not the issue that we're trying to say. The issue that we're trying to bring up is that the Blackhawks got fined $2 million. You're telling me that Ryan Reeves is worth $500,000 less than this fine. That's the problem that's in front of us. It's the fact that the Senators the Blackhawks had this long string of abuse during the late 2010 season that we're just going to $2 million slap on the wrist for a family. Is it the Wirtz family that owns the Blackhawks? Am I correct
the Wirtz
on that?
family. Do you guys remember?
$2 million means nothing to them.
Do you guys remember how the late Rocky Wirtz reacted when a beat reporter who he knew and had done multiple interviews with was trying to ask about it, and how he violently said, "We're not talking about the sexual assault. We're not talking about this. We're moving forward."
Yeah. Congratulations, Rocky. You own an NHL team in a scandal. You have to talk about it.
Yes, but he's I'm pretty sure he's no longer with us. Yes. I'm like
sure he passed.
Please
double check that, but I'm like,
no, he's dead. He died.
I said the late. Yeah, the late. Yeah, he passed in July. So
people were having whatever.
We're not getting into that.
No.
The Blackhawks situation makes me angrier every time it comes up, because the NHL, we're just not like it. So that's the NHL's kind of defense, is the whole on-ice product with the Senators, because it directly affected trade versus this is all fights things that happened. The problem is, do we remember the Joel Quenneville quote after the Western Conference Final?
I don't.
When he said, we can't talk about this, because he learned then, because we're on a roll. So they brushed it under the rug and it never came back, because it can't interfere with the playoff run. So let's say this scandal comes out then. Okay, and they made this argument on the Steve Dangle podcast. So I don't want to take full credit of it, but I agree and I want to share it here. Are they able to quickly keep that team up if that scandal came out when it did? If that scandal comes out in that offseason of what happened, are they able to bring players in the way they did? Or are they kind of looked down upon? If this scandal comes out then, do they win 2013? Are they able to keep that? Are they this premium destination for free agents? And for team, because if I'm a player, I want out. If that's how you treat your players, I'm out. I don't want to play here.
It's a it can go either way.
It's a rabbit
in my
hole.
Opinion. It can go either way. It is a rabbit hole. There's no right answer, ultimately.
No, there isn't.
I mean, look at the way people view what should be one of the best hockey dynasties of the 2000s now.
Yeah, this century.
Yeah.
Do you think 15 years from now, when we're looking back at the dynasties that we've had so far since 2000, we talk about the Red Wings, we talk about the Avalanche, we talk about the Penguins, the Lightning. Are we still talking about the Blackhawks that way?
Yeah. I mean, it's undeniable.
Do we kind of brush aside and talk about dynasty?
On ice, yes, but the problem is now you can't talk about them. What they did on
without
the ice
this.
Without this, you cannot. It just can't be done. There's no way around it.
I've lost respect for every player on that team from that 2010 team because they knew.
Everyone in that building knew, and with every report that comes out, it doesn't matter how they settled the Kyle Beach. There's a new suit now. And you know what? After they settle this one, who's to say there's not going to be another suit? This guy was clearly a predator who was allowed to be around victims for way too long. And part of that was perpetuated by the fact that the Chicago Blackhawks gave him a glowing letter of recommendation as opposed to actually allowing an investigation to happen.
Firing him.
They
fired him for this and then gave him the recommendation.
And that recommendation led to him being around vulnerable minors, which resulted in him ultimately repeating what he does, and that put him in jail finally. But it shouldn't have gone that far. It could have ended right there. So is a Stanley Cup really fucking worth it?
I mean,
Zach put it perfectly.
No. Trevor, I want to go back to what you said about losing respect for the players. I felt that way too. But now I kind of only lost respect for the players that I feel like could have had an impact if they came forward with.
I lost respect for every player on the team, but especially your Patrick Kane, your Jonathan Toews.
Yeah.
Because I really think this is a black cloud over their entire career and legacy. Yes, you had the on-ice achievements, but Jonathan, you captained this team and you knew and you didn't do anything for years. And you refuse to acknowledge that you knew.
Do you think
everyone else says that everyone in the locker room knew?
Do you think Jonathan Toews took a step away from hockey because he knew more was coming out? Do you think that played a role?
I don't think so.
Or was it just fully held? You mean the fact is we have to ask the question. His body was screwed, but I mean, you know what?
Is he fighting harder to get back?
He had to have known that something else was going to come out about this. You can't convince me.
He knew.
Yeah,
it may have been, I don't know if I can play anymore, but this scandal is going to keep getting worse, so I don't want to put forth the 150% I need to put in to get back.
Yeah.
It may not have been the main factor, but it could have been, and that too. I don't want to deal with that. I just want to go quietly back to Manitoba. But just you can't tell me that right now you look at Jonathan Toews' career and the only thing you say is, man, what a player, what a captain. You can't say that anymore.
No.
We regarded him the same way, and not skill-wise, but kind of leadership-wise, at the same tier level as Sidney Crosby at one point. We held him to that respect.
There were people who made a serious argument with me around 2014, 2015, that if they were starting a team, the guy they would take over anyone else in the NHL was Jonathan Toews, because he had that leadership quality.
That is absurd.
Yeah.
And it made sense at the time, though.
You know what,
he did the quiet captain perfectly.
Andrew, it was the wildest thing, but it was a common take. It was a common take at the time. Now I don't think anyone would dream of saying
Not
that.
one. Not one.
Wait, so they said that if they had to choose a captain,
Choose
They
a
had to
guy,
choose someone to
choose a
captain.
captain, a center to build their team around. You do a fantasy draft. You pick one center. You build your
Okay.
team around that center.
That's interesting.
They pick Jonathan Taves
Okay.
over.
I thought
over
you just
Crosby.
meant one player.
Oh God, no.
I was
No.
like,
So
who
who
the
you basing
hell
the
is
team around?
taking Taves over like Crosby or Kane or
Well, they chose him for
Miles
that
Wood
to build the team around you, or Miles Wood.
or Miles
Yes,
Wood?
or Miles Wood. Like
Miles
it's
Wood
just
didn't deserve that.
no, he didn't deserve that. But like I'm really stuck on that because like Patrick Kane, are you looking him the same way you looked at him in 2 years ago? Was it? Because it's been out for a while. I think it's been about a year and a half, 2
It's
years.
so sad. I was watching like as soon as this stuff came back up, I started watching his highlights again, just in some sort of like I don't know why. I don't know why I did it, but every time it comes up, it reminds me of like what was. And I go back and I watch the highlights of that team, and they're so good.
Do you
And
remember
That was a
that?
good team.
It's electric. Them winning the cup is electric. Them throwing off the gloves, skating down the ice, practically like skipping. It's like gives me chills
In
every time I
Philly,
watch
The
it.
2010 game winner where only Patrick saw it and had to convince
Yes.
his team it was in. That's
where was the
great.
puck?
Oh
Yeah.
my god, it was.
But the one that still gives me chills is the 2015. It's Kane from Richards. It's not even the game winner, but it's the one that put him up 2-0 in the one.
Oh yeah.
And you know the one where Patrick Kane points
He
out,
does the
points
point
about
thing,
the
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the thing, yeah.
That's my favorite celebration of.
That Blackhawks dynasty had some goosebump moments.
They did,
Way
and they're
more
all
than Tampa
tainted,
did.
and they're all tainted.
They're
Yeah.
tainted forever.
Like they're
Quite simply, if someone looks at me and goes, "Man, those Blackhawks teams were special," quite frankly, I don't give a shit. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah.
So what? They were good. They were hiding it.
Yep.
I don't care that you're winning games. You're hiding it.
All right, okay. I have to deal with Max. So please,
Max
yeah,
is
Max.
making his appearance.
Max is making his appearance. Max, tell the people what needs to happen right now.
He needs to go to the bathroom.
He does, yes, very much so. So give me 1 minute and we will be right back. So apologies for that. Just as a brief update on Max, he will be 21 on Thanksgiving. Recently we purchased a playpen to try and limit his movements while he's away, and it did not work out well.
Max was born to run.
Does anyone need a slightly used playpen? Nothing bad happened in it. I promise.
Yeah.
I promise.
I don't have any pets, but yeah.
Nothing bad happened in this playpen.
Nothing bad happened. Something bad happened in that playpen that we're not saying.
Nothing. No. Nothing bad happened in that playpen. I swear.
Okay.
Yeah, my dog just spilled his food and water everywhere.
That's not bad.
No,
that's right.
I thought it was worse than it was, but anyway, yeah. So Trevor, you texted us in the group chat like less than an hour ago saying, "Hey, I'm sad about the Leafs." Trevor, why are you sad about the Leafs?
At the end of the first period last night, I was more frustrated with the Leafs than I've ever been after a playoff loss. Straight up. This team is not good. This is how every Leafs game goes now. Okay? They get shitty goaltending, so they go down 3-0. And then they heavily rely on their top-end talent because they're the best players on the face of the planet. And then they come back, and then they're playing in a normal hockey game again, and then they lose. Okay? That's Toronto Maple Leafs brand hockey. It pissed me off that they won last night. They go down 4-1 in the first period to Tampa. The second time they've gone down several goals in the first period to them this year and come back and win. The thing is, when you keep coming back and winning, you're not learning that, hey, Samsonov can't stop a beach ball right now. Stop trying it. It's not working. He's a non-option. Sheldon Keefe still keeps putting Tyler Bertuzzi on the ice, even though it is so obviously clear Tyler Bertuzzi does not want to be here. And I'm not even going to go heavily into the Marchand Liljegren hit. That should have definitely been a suspension. What I will bring up, though, is that Liljegren had several dozen people coming to the game in Sweden that have never seen him play in the NHL before, and he's no longer going now. Yeah. And the thing is, that happens, right? Liljegren's hurt. It's a dirty play by a guy who's pestered you for years, and not one of you has a damn thing to say about it. Tyler Bertuzzi's on the bench laughing about it. Ryan Reeves is just jawing at him. Not one player on the ice grabbed him by the collar.
Well,
This team's pathetic.
Didn't Ryan Reeves give the excuse that he wasn't on the ice with Marchand at the same time? Like,
But he didn't do anything later.
That
I
was
mean,
really
I'm
funny.
gonna be honest with you. Ryan Reeves has like the appeal and I guess the gimmick of Ryan Reeves has really worn off on me because now all this guy does is talk in the media. He doesn't do a damn
That's
thing
all
on
he
the ice.
does.
He just talks in the media. He doesn't protect his players. He doesn't do a goddamn thing to save it.
Yeah, cool. You fought in the first 10 minutes of the season.
Whoop-de-doo.
Cool. That was cool on opening night. I was like, good. We got some grit. But things, it doesn't matter when all your grit comes in front of a beat reporter. I don't care. I don't care. Why are we paying you $1.5 million? I don't care. Why are we paying Tyler Bertuzzi $4+ million to skate around the ice not caring with half of his skate still on his foot? Max
You know what?
Domi looks
I
like
did
he's
not
more
care
blind than
about this
Zach's
at all.
Max.
Wow, low blow. Low blow,
That was a
Trevor.
low blow. That was a low blow. But the
My
Leafs-
dog would
this
my
team
dog
is
would give his
horrible.
heart to the entire city of Toronto, and you know it.
You know what? Someone should. Okay, because it looks like this team doesn't give a shit. But what I will say, though, Austin Matthews is single-handedly giving Sheldon Keefe a job. 13 goals in 12 games.
Oh, hey, that's
I
more
don't-
goals than the Sharks have scored.
Yes, one more. That's the real scoring race that we're interested in this year, is who ends up with more goals, Austin Matthews or the San Jose Sharks.
Who's
That is a
going
good
to end up
scoring
with
race.
more points combined? The Jack Hughes, Quinn Hughes, Luke Hughes trio, or the San Jose
The
Sharks
Sharks roster.
entire team? Yes.
It might be the Hughes brothers.
What do you think the highest Sharks win streak is going to be this year?
2.
One. I
I'm
don't
gonna
think they win
go-
back-to-back games this year. I'm dead serious.
I'm going 5.
Wow. Look at
Hell no.
I'm
No, no,
thinking
no, no.
maybe they
You
have a
know
good
what?
run.
You know what?
The only way
Trevor.
that happens is if they get 5 Zamboni drivers in a row.
No. What's going to happen is Fabian Zetterlund is going to go on a hot streak. And he's going
Yeah.
to score 10 goals in a 5-game span.
And he's
want
going
him
to
back
account
so
for
bad.
10 of San Jose's 33 goals all season.
Goddamn right.
Okay, so
Think of how
few
shitty
over-unders.
it must be to be Fabian Zetterlund.
Oh my god.
Like you're like you are convinced. Oh, we're going to the Stanley Cup, and then they're
What?
like, who's we? You're
Who
going
is-
to the Sharks.
Who is
buddy.
we?
I hope you like the
Psych.
beach.
Yeah, like
Oh,
Who I feel worse for is unnamed player that's getting traded to San Jose at the deadline.
There's going to be someone, yeah.
Or the draft pick.
Tomas
that
Hertl is still on the
17-year-old.
San Jose Sharks, isn't he?
Yes.
they
Oh, yeah,
hollowed
someone's
out the
going-
Sharks. I mean, it's
There's
insane.
well, if Tomas Hertl is there, then they're not
They
completely
still
hollowed
have-
out yet.
Logan Couture. He's still
Oh
there.
no, yeah,
And
yeah.
Mark
there are,
Edward
there are,
Vlasic
there
is
are
still
unnamed
there.
player. There are players to be named that will be San Jose Sharks by the end of this year that did not plan for this. I can't wait.
No. Okay, so let's do some fun over-unders. The worst team of the 2000s, the Atlanta Thrashers, of 99-2000, ended with 14 wins.
Legendary.
Do the Sharks
Yes, they have
win
wins
more than 14 games?
Yes, they're going to win 16 games at least.
You think 16?
Yeah, minimum.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, it works with my prediction of 5 back-to-back. But you know what? Now that I'm thinking about that, how could they have 5 back-to-backs? Because that's just not. That'd be like all of their wins for the season back-to-back.
It's just one stretch.
I'm going
gonna go
20
one
wins,
last
3
year.
back-to-backs.
Okay. Now, so they're not good. They're not good at scoring goals. Obviously.
Which is
Okay.
really bad.
Mhm.
You want to be good at scoring goals in the NHL. I've learned that.
There's not many things you need, but goals.
They have 12 goals in 11 games. Do they score
could play for the
120
Sharks.
goals?
I'm not kidding. I could
probably
play for the
could.
Sharks.
Trevor, what was the question?
Are they scoring 120 goals this year?
No,
Yeah, probably.
No way. No way.
I think the lowest is like around 150. And they have to go on such an improvement to get close to that number. You may be thinking, oh, we're only 11 games in. That is a decent chunk of the season.
No,
I think they're
not
going to
hitting
hit
that.
130, 135.
Is it going to be the record, though?
They're not even hitting
Probably
100.
not.
You think they're not the worst offense of, like, the Cap era, for example?
There's a lot of hockey to be played, is all I'm going to say.
They're
Yeah.
not even hitting
Okay,
100. They are not hitting 100 goals.
Andrew.
No, they'll hit 100. They'll hit 100.
Andrew.
You can't keep it one
won't
goal
not.
pace all year.
Andrew, these people have
Why not?
these people have
these are still
families.
professional hockey players.
You know what you would have said 5 games ago? If I would have asked you, are the Sharks going to win in the next 5 games? You would have said, yeah, of course. You can't.
I sure
start the
hope
season
so.
I don't know if
losing
I would
11
have said
games.
That. I don't know if I would have said that.
Well,
They're
Zach,
the only.
you've
first
seen
team
more
in
hockey
50
than us. I feel like you've lived through more hockey than us. So
Yeah. Another Zach is old joke thrown into the episode. But the Sharks not only are bad at scoring goals, they're very bad at scoring goals. They're the first team in 58 years to give up 10 goals in back-to-back games.
yeah,
One
that
of
is
which
just-
was against the Penguins. Who, if they would have lost that game, Mike
How many
Sullivan.
points did Eric Carlson have?
You want to pull it up?
How many points did Eric Carlson have in his homecoming game?
I hope 10. I hope every
Was
single one
that
of
it?
those goals was his.
Tell me that was in San Jose too.
I know he recorded more than he had at least 1 point. I know that. I think it was an assist. I'll pull it up. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't think Trevor's gonna be able to pull it up.
Trevor just texted.
I don't think Trevor's working too well right now. So why don't we pull it up and call it an episode?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Okay. I just want to let you know that the people know that Trevor texted everything crashed.
Wonderful.
Trevor's
So,
gone.
Trevor is left for the audio listeners. That's
He had
wonderful.
2 points in the game against San Jose. It was 2 assists. So
Wonderful. Yeah, San Jose is bad, but they might get better, but not looking good.
I'm thinking 1 goal pace the whole year. 82 goals final.
I stand by my 140. They might set the record, but I think
82. No, you know what? I'm gonna go 110. If I had to give a real number, I know it's low, but I'm gonna go 110.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about all we have for you today. And before Trevor gets to rejoin, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Wrinkles in the Crease. Please tune in next week. Enjoy the rest of your week. Send your prayers out to I don't even know who to say anymore.
Jack Hughes.
Jack
I'd say.
Hughes. Jack Hughes.
Yep.
I feel like that's a safe bet. Again, thanks again for listening. We will see you next time.